Now it's time to swing the pendulum in the other direction and talk about our favorite or the best movies we watched in 2022. Starting off with, ironically, myself. I entered the fray. Now, if you didn't read the warning, you got to understand this is not what came out this year. This is what we've watched this year, okay, buddy boy? So when you hear this classic, you might be like, what the fuck? This classic's only 3? Sorry, but that's what happens. I'm here to talk to you guys about Spirited Away, Studio Ghibli film. If you know anything about Studio Ghibli, they are the dynamite killers of the industry when it comes to anime movies. They make something, the entire world jumps out of their seat to watch it. They are the Disney of Japan, basically. And there's a good reason for it, because Spirited Away is an absolute classic. While the plot could be considered thin at times, because you're really just living in the world of Spirited Away, alongside the character's journey of the main girl, the art and everything just encapsulates you so well and gives you a feeling of emotion and just grandeur. When you see the bathhouse, you see the dragons, you see the sky, you see these creatures, you see this dude running around with a white mask and a full black body looking like the opposite of Casper. And you're just like, damn, what's going on here? And it just engrosses you all the way through to the end of the film. And I just loved all it had to offer. Musically, visually, and emotionally. It struck me in my Grinch-sized heart. And expanded it 3 times that day. And Spirited Away is absolute classic for anyone seen it. If you haven't seen it, I recommend it. Yes, it's anime, but I think anyone could watch this, whether you're 5 years old or you're 65 years old. There's just some things we watched this year that gave us more excitement and enjoyment, but we have to admit that Spirited Away is a classic and quality, and that's why it ranked at number 3 in our best movies of 2022 list.
It definitely makes me want to watch more Studio Ghibli films. So I will definitely be doing that, and you'll probably see more on the pod eventually.
Totally fine with that. It was very heartfelt, and that's what I appreciated about this movie.
So this leads into our second best movie of the year, which is Synchronic. Now, little backstory on this one. So we watched the trailer on our old forgotten segment of Trailer Trash, and we were really excited about this one. Reek and I actually saw this separately before we put it on pod. I put it on pod because I'm a cheater, and I don't feel good about it, but we're here now, so this is why I'm talking about it. Anthony Mackie stars in this movie. It's about basically a newfound drug that takes you into a certain part of the past, into the exact place that you took that pill, or whatever it was. So it kind of just follows him going through time, trying to extend his life, if you will, without spoiling much, and his adventure through there. I would very much recommend this. Again, I've seen it twice now. There's a reason that I dropped this on the podcast for us to watch. Go check out that review if you haven't, because it's a good one. Yeah, it's a very different take on sci-fi, naturally, in Hollywood.
I like it. This brings us to the top of the chain right here. Best movie that we watched this year, numero uno, Nobody. Nobody is a movie that fits, at least personally, if not in all of our hearts, in exactly the kind of movie that we love to see. And it's not going to win, awards for a lot of stuff, but it's action-packed. That's all it is.
It's going to win awards here.
I was going to say, it won the best movie. That's the best award a movie can win, right?
You're right. Let's see. Start to finish. Well, maybe not the start. The very start, we're getting the introduction to the character. And then after that, it is nonstop action. If you like John Wick, you will like Nobody. It's the same kind of stuff where it's just mindless, beautiful violence and fighting. This dude is badass. He's whooping ass left, right, upside down, inside, and out throughout the entire movie, protecting his family. And it's awesome. There are so many good scenes between the house, the bus, and the very end where he's just killing people, beating them up, whatever it is. And the reason that this is better than some other similar types of movies is because we see that he is completely human. Whereas in other situations, we see guys who just don't seem to take any damage. They're good no matter what. This guy took his lumps and he just kept going anyways. We saw how battered and bruised he was, and he kept fighting the whole time, and he was still, even while injured, doing his best and whooping everybody's ass all around the place. And we love the mindless violence in movies, so that's the big reason why this movie went number 1 this year. Shout
out to Bob Odenkirk for that role.
You damn
did
right.
Great. You better call him. So
yeah, you better.
We gotta ask the grand question. We gotta put nobody up against a already reigning defending 2-time champion in Train to Busan. And we gotta ask the question, does nobody knock Train to Busan off as the best movie in DBB history?
Well, this is
personally, I mean, my vote is yes. I was not the biggest Train to Busan guy, so that was an obvious vote for me.
That's fair.
My rationale for this, correct? I had to argue with myself. I had to come to grips with this question. I understand that nobody is this great piece of action. You know, it's an hour and 30 minutes long. It's concise, tight, fun, and enjoyable. And then I look at Train to Busan, which is just epic, you know? You see this journey of this man, you see him learning and everything like that. You see death and horror and zombies in a train. It's the opposite of snakes on a plane. And I just find myself not thinking that nobody can beat it. And so I have to go with Train to Busan for me.
I'm in a similar boat. Again, the mindless violence, the action of nobody is right up my alley. Along with a couple snide, funny comments. It's enjoyable. There was not a part of that I didn't like. But then Train to Busan was also had a lot of action. It was suspenseful. It had drama. I was more invested in the characters than I was in the character in Nobody. So I'm also going to have to stick with Train to Busan as our reigning defending undisputed best movie.
Eli shakes his fist at the sky one more year.
Why, God, do you
downfall.
give me your toughest battles?
As Train to Busan becomes the first 3-time in DBB history. Can you believe it?
Hey, somebody slide into our DMs and give me some movie recommendations so we don't get this shit again.
If it's the 4th time, Eli's ended.
I'm done, bro.
Gotta retire from the Sear Show.
I was like, there's no way Train to Busan wins movie of the year 2 years after this one. And they said, here go 2 more for y'all.